This video is sponsored by Helsinki Metal Festival 2023.
Hello everybody out there, this is Kai.
And Michael.
And we are booked for the Helsinki Metal Fest as headliners on the
11th of August.
11th.
After all the cancellations and stuff, we're happy to finally come to your country.
Yeah. Come
See you
watch
there
us.
then.
Yeah.
Beer and hoppy malty ales from Finland. It's time for a new beer review. It's been exactly a while after the previous beer review I did, because as you know, probably, not too many beers come for review after all. And even though lots of bands do beers these days, that doesn't mean that they're ready to send them, and sometimes it doesn't really make sense, especially outside Europe and all that stuff, customs and whatever. Anyway, this is something that I got during Steelfest this year, 2023, and there was actually a box meant for Martti, which you might not know, a humorous creature that features adventures sometimes on my videos during festivals and all that stuff, and that was the first box dedicated to Martti. So of course it was an unboxing video for the beer. However, the band was kind enough to provide 2 bottles, and here you will find some of the basic information. I know it's not really readable, so I'm doing my best. So this is about 6% beer, half a liter. It's kind of a dark, I guess, some kind of a German style. It seems that I was told about it, that this is some kind of a Trappist beer or something very similar that is done by real monks. Oops, and now it's happening. Okay, let's not do it on my pants. You cannot really fake this kind of shit. So there it is. Now obviously this was, less obviously, not in a refrigerator but on my shelf, waiting for the right moment to be opened. Why I decided to not go in the refrigerator and cool it down properly? A couple of reasons. First of all, I really like sometimes when I'm drinking beers in room temperature. I'll explain later why. And secondly, I didn't actually have time. I was ready to shoot another Norwegian black metal episode. But then I found out I have this beer. It's Saturday night, and I'm actually looking for a good excuse to drink the beer. I don't want to drink the beer during a normal work day when I'm just doing a normal day job and then hey, I need to shoot this video. So let's just dry my hands on my band shirt, and now all my fingers are smelling like beer. The second reason is, indeed, I wanted to enjoy this during a weekend day, so once I'm done with the review, I can actually just enjoy the rest of the beer like a normal dude would. The downside of reviewing beers, especially when you have one bottle, you just have to do it on the video, uncork it, enjoy it for the first time, do the virgin run, and you don't really have the luxury of it, just raise your legs on a beach with your friends and stuff like that, or just watching a movie. You're kind of bound to do the review on camera, and no matter how well it goes, you have only one chance opening the bottle. As you can see, I really can't put the beer back in the bottle or pretend none of this happened. So genuine stuff, and that's the part of this. Much like reaction videos, you only get to react honestly once. So I got my beer glass from the cupboard. I have to apologize for reflections here. I'm having the light, so the video wouldn't be so grainy, but as you can see, it's reflecting everything here. So if I remove it, take a little bit distance from the camera, you can see actually it's very, very dark. So this is really kind of a black. When you stare at it from the distance and the reflections won't be so obvious, you really can't tell. You don't see any kind of transparency here. It's very, very dark. Now if I'm putting it against the window here, where the natural light comes in, or even more so towards the light source, the rather bright light, I can barely see it through, and even that shows this is very, very dark brown. I mean, you really can't see it, but there is a tinge of red and, of course, brown, like beer is kind of supposed to be. So it's not literally black, as you might think. But in terms of like normal day, when you're having this kind of a beer, Kloister beer, done by German monks, I guess, that is really the thing here. Don't take me 100% sure for being no German monks, but Kloister beer this is. And because I had already the Martti video done, I roughly know how it's gonna taste like, but this is still as much as a virgin experience as it can be. So let's taste and cheers, or kippis like we say in Finland. Already smelling this gives you a kind of a syrup-like sweetness. The thing here is, this is something like something very sweet. Not overly sweet, of course. I mean, it's beer, but you know, still in terms of beer, the malt here is already giving you like a promise of something sweet and very easy to enjoy. Nothing too hoppy, I guess, because there is like not a strong taste in that sense, but more like kind of a sugary feeling. So yeah, a little bit, in a way, a kind of coffee-like thing, but not exactly right there. So let's taste it. Now this is room temperature, which is, given it's July, late evening, some 10:30. And this has been on the shelf, not directly on towards the light, of course, but still in a relatively warm room, say something 22, 23 maybe. And this really brings the taste on the top of things. Now, a lot of people would like to see this cooled or at least taste it while it's like that. And I totally understand. I mean, beer is more refreshing when it's really like chilled, not exactly cold, but still. But now that this is room temperature, it really brings more on the taste. That's just physics, basic physics and chemistry. So this is something that I probably shouldn't explain, but like I said, I wanted to point out why I'm doing this in room temperature. Sometimes I even do that with, say, IPAs and whatnot, because the hoppiness kind of kicks in more strongly when you have the room temperature beer. Some would say, yeah, it's not as refreshing, but I don't really care. If I want just refreshments, I go for, I don't know, ice cream or frozen yogurt or just lager beer. But when I want to go for the taste, like beyond the refreshment, then it has to be a little bit warmer. Maybe not exactly room temperature, but closer to 20 than 0 degrees. Anyway, this is indeed somewhat sweet, not overly sweet, but definitely speaking in my language, so to say. What we have here is super drinkable beer, which is, I mean, it could be a little bit chiller. I'll admit that. The thing here is, this is so delicate taste. At the same time, it's very sweet in terms of beer. I mean, it's almost like having some kind of a brown bread, kind of dark bread, which has this sugary feeling, like some kind of a syrup. And people living in northern countries probably already know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the kind of a thick bread, limpu, which is definitely something of a kind of a sweeter kind, and also the same kind of a color. Those who don't like sweet beers at all, like these kind of a Kloister beers, they're not gonna enjoy this too much. But I think this is very, very fitting for the band like Front. This is not your typical lager beer, nor is it challenging double IPA or whatever, but it's a kind of a more memorable one. And I think this kind of a Kloister beer approach fits the band very well. It's not your typical, but it's not too challenging in the terms of, taste. Now, when it comes to availability or price or all that with this beer, I'm sorry, I don't have the information. You probably have to do a little bit of Googling with that. Now, that being said, of course, I want to show the band's Metal Archive site. And this Lahti-based band is sort of a side project with bands from various bands One Bastard being the main guy, and his main band, I assume, is still Sacrilegious Impalement. And with past members or live musicians, you will see quite a lineup of important people in various bands. Say, for example, Obscure Burial or, War Moon Lord, etc. So if you go with this live musician or past members lineup, it's gonna be interesting. But so far this band hasn't been exactly the most active since their 2016 debut album, which is good, by the way. But there is some new release coming out. It's actually, for example, there's this live album which I'm gonna show you here, and this was supposed to be with this particular beer review. I already have the tape, but it was announced there will be other versions coming later on. For example, here it says just tape, but there will be later on, I was told, a CD at least. So maybe we'll get back to this release later on. But those who are already, liking the band, check out the beer and check out the live album, which is already out, 2023. And that's the news. And for beer lovers, this is good news. And those who don't like beer, well, you can actually always go for the Black and Dead trash metal by these guys coming from the war front and all that stuff. These things being said, go enjoy a beer, go enjoy some front music, and I hope to bring more reviews regarding the band later on and all that stuff. Now, take care, off you go, and have a good weekend.